Hello and welcome back, guys. This is a really quick video just looking at monoflap saddles. We're going to discuss what makes that saddle a monoflap and also whether or not you need one. Sit back, make yourselves a cup of tea and hopefully you'll find out. I hope this 2-minute look into a monoflap jump saddle was in some way useful. I've recorded it because I hear so many people say to me that they want a monoflap saddle because they think it means it's more forward cut. They'll say, I need a monoflap saddle because I've got long legs. I need a monoflap saddle because my horse is jumping really big. Not true. First of all, before we start, let's discuss what monoflap means. Mono means one and flap means flap. So you can get a monoflap or a dual flap saddle. A monoflap saddle has, you've guessed it, one flap. A dual flap or a standard saddle has, you've guessed it, 2 flaps. So what's the difference between a monoflap and a normal saddle? The number of flaps that it has. Let's take a look a little bit more closely. So it's a single flapped saddle. Now what does that mean? Well, it means that this part here of your saddle only has one flap. So you know on saddles when you lift up your flap to do your girth up, well, we're going to lift up this flap to do the girth up, and oh look, there's nothing underneath. And that's because it's only got one flap. So it's a mono flap, one flap. What are monoflaps used for? Monoflaps are used for people that want to get their legs really close to their horse. So by taking that extra flap away, your leg is that little bit closer to the horse. Also what happens when you take that flap away is that you take the girth straps away. If you think normally when you're on a normal dual flap saddle, your legs hang down and underneath your legs are the girth straps and the girth buckles. The monoflap saddles don't have that because they only have that one flap and therefore the girth buckles are lower down. So here the straps are coming out of the bottom and this will be worn with a short girth. So in lots of cases you'll think of that as a dressage girth because dressage saddles also have that for the same reason, is that to get the buckle out from under your leg. But dressage saddles don't always have mono flaps, they sometimes have 2 flaps, usually in fact have 2 flaps. The monoflap saddles are much more popular in jumping than they are in dressage, although there are some dressage saddles now coming on the market that have got a mono flap, but the majority of dressage saddles have still got the 2 flaps but with a long strap so you haven't got the buckle under your leg. So why is the price so much more on a monoflap saddle? Well, it's because of the material that they're made out of. Because you haven't got those 2 flaps made out of solid leather, they have to think outside the box a little bit and they have to work out a way to get the girth straps around the saddle, and that involves putting them through a little sleeve of some sort, and it also invariably involves using slightly more expensive type of leather. So when we look at this saddle here it's got like a calf leather covering, and we look up here where these girth straps are coming out. So this here is the underside of that monoflap saddle. So can you see here that there's only this one flap and that the girth straps come out of the bottom here and they run along in here up there to attach to the tree. And we can see that the panel looks completely different because they haven't got that flap on here coming down here. So you've got much less under your leg here, much less under your leg because you haven't got that extra flap. The girthing setup I think can make the saddle sit a little bit more securely. So sometimes the monoflap saddles are good for people, horses even, that move the saddles around a bit. They can sit a little bit more kind of like locked in place, a little bit more secure on the horse's back. That's to do with the girthing. But equally you can have long straps put onto a dual flap saddle, so just to confuse matters. The other thing about monoflap saddles is that because they've only got this one flap, you can't have a knee block stuck on your bottom flap and then this top flap coming over it. So the knee blocks are external blocks. So it's mounted on the outside of the saddle. So that's an external thigh and an external knee. And they're mounted on the outside of the saddle because there's nowhere inside to put them and have a flap over the top. Do you need a monoflap saddle? I don't know, do you? So the people that benefit from monoflap saddles are people who like to be really close to their horse. Also, people who have very broad barreled horses who find that their little legs stick out when they've got too much saddle because they've already got quite a lot of horse, bit more saddle can make your little legs stick out. So if you're one of those people, then you might also benefit from trying a monoflap saddle. Do you need one? It's up to you to decide in conjunction with your saddle fitter. Why not? If you're interested, why not get them out and give some a try? I go to a lot of people that think, yeah, I really want a monoflap saddle, and I go there and they're sitting there and they're like, ugh, I feel like I've got nothing underneath me. I personally don't like monoflap saddles because I like a saddle that's more like a sofa, whereas some people like saddles to be hardly even exist underneath their bottoms. I want my saddle to be like a sofa, cup me, hold me. I want to feel that it's there. I don't mind if my legs stick out at right angles. I just want to know I've got a saddle there. I'm not a candidate for a monoflap saddle. But then again, I don't jump more than about 12 centimetres, so I'm maybe not the monoflap jump saddle market as such. But if you are interested, get your saddle fitter out, give some a try. That was a very quick look at monoflap saddles. What's the difference between them? Well, they've got one flap instead of two, the straps aren't underneath your leg, the buckle isn't underneath your leg, and the whole thing sits a little bit closer. The blocks are external, they tend to be made from a slightly different material, which tends to make them a little bit more expensive. But a lot of people make the mistake of thinking that a monoflap saddle is like a more forward cut jump saddle. That's not true, because you can get monoflap dressages, you can get monoflap GPs actually. You can get any saddle as a monoflap really. It's just that they're most popular in the jump variety. And all the difference is that it has one flap instead of two. Mono flap, not dual flap. Mono flap, one flap. That's it, that's what a monoflap saddle is. Thank you so much for watching. It's been lovely spending this time with you. As always, sorry this one was a quick one. I've got tons of videos being made at the moment and all of them are really long. So I thought instead of doing a long boring one, have a little short one, so here it is. Please don't forget to like, subscribe and all of that kind of gumph. I do loads of videos all the time. I do a live one on the last Friday of every month, and I try to do one of these Spotlight Sunday ones every Sunday. Next week I'm aiming to do one about tack cleaning products. Our ones to be precise, so make sure you tune in for that. In the meantime, take care guys, lots and lots of love.